So, what is standard form? Well, standard form is used to express very small and very large numbers. In a compact and efficient way. So when you want to do standard form for large numbers, it's going to look like this. So how do we make this into standard form? We first have to locate where the decimal could be. Now, to know where the decimal could be, the decimal range should be from 1 to 9. 0.99999, and so on. So here's why. To write a standard form, the first number in the standard form, it would be a 1-digit number or a number that only has one that is a whole number. Decimals can be added as well. So you have one number, and it's always going to be times 10 to the power of a random number, which can be negative or positive, whether the number is a small number or a big number. To do this example, we have to first identify where to place the decimal. The decimal will be placed over here. This will give us with a 3.58 number. Now, why is it that we didn't count the zeros? Well, we're trying to consider the significant figures in a number. To know the significant figures, the only rule that you're supposed to keep in mind is that zeros after the whole number digit over here, and there is no whole number digit over here or anywhere like towards the end, these are all going to be figures that are gonna not be counted, or otherwise known as insignificant figures. So when I learned this, I didn't want to put in the rules. I just wanted to keep a solid thinking that the significant figures are not the whole number part. So for example, you have 3.58, 0, 0, and then 4. You have 4 at the end. The zeros here are always going to be considered significant because these are part of the number that you're going to multiply by 10 and your number over there. So with that being said, I could already reiterate that significant figures are numbers that are not zero, sig figs can also be called a significant figure, by the way. Numbers that aren't zero and sandwich zeros. What I mean by sandwiched is like you have the numbers, you have the zero numbers over here, and then you have a whole number here and you have a whole number there. The zeros are considered sandwiched. So those are significant figures. Once you're done identifying the decimal place, you have to write that number down. 3.58. Now we have to add the times to give those other zeros, or to add those other zeros when you have it multiplied. So it's always by 10. That is always the second number here, It's always by 10. To the power of. Now, this is when we try to realize what number are we supposed to put there for us to give the same answer of 358 million. So, in every whole number, the decimal point is at the very end, right? So we take this arrow, or you can draw a line, or whatever. You can even draw an imaginary line, but I'm just drawing it so that you'd be able to understand. We count the digits from here all the way to the to the decimal point. Therefore, this gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 digits. Therefore, we should put an 8 over here. However, there is another way to look for this. All you have to do is just find the amount of digits that your original number has, which is 9, and you can just minus it by 1, which gives you 8. It's the same thing, but you can choose the one which works for you, or you find it a lot more easier. So you have 8 over here. So this is how you usually get large numbers or big numbers written in standard form. Now for small numbers, very small numbers. How do you do that? Well, let's give an example of 0.000780. Ending zeros in a decimal number don't really count, so you just ignore them. Sometimes questions would just add it to make you confused, but don't mind those zeros because, as we know, when you have a number that has a 0 ending after it with no other number at the end, that means the zeros are going to be infinite and reach until the very end. Back to the question. You cross out that 0 just to make your brain ignore it. Now, over here, we are first going to identify where the decimal place is going to be. Well, of course, it's going to be in 7.08 because this is a number between 1 to 9. So, we write that down. And then we have to multiply it by 10. To the power of what? We have to check the decimal point over here and how many digits are in between this decimal point, the new decimal point, and the old one. Let's count it just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 digits. Now, every time you do small numbers, please remember to add a negative and then that number. In this case, it's 4. Negative should always be added when you have the small numbers in terms of standard form. So, let's use black over here. And there you have it. This is your standard form written number as this.